Snowshoes are the closest you'll ever come to weightlessness on Earth. They work by spreading your weight over a wide area so you can glide over the snow rather than sink into it. But how do they keep the snowshoe itself from weighing you down? It starts with bending a piece of hollow aluminium tubing into a wide feather-like frame for the snowshoe. Aluminium is great for snowshoes because the 140-centimetre long tube used to make the complete frame weighs just under 1/4 kilo. Yet it's still strong enough to spread and support your weight. To turn the aluminium tube into the frame, or outer skeleton of a snowshoe, a machine called a rotary bender uses 7 kilos of force to bend the tube in 7 different places. The colourful markers on the bending machine tell the worker where to start and stop each bend. Before each bend, a worker wedges a steel block between the tube and 2 steel rollers. The outer roller forces the block into the tube to make the bend. Without this steel block, the pressure could cause the tubes to dimple or collapse in on themselves. It takes about a minute in the bender to turn each tube into a frame. Once the frame is formed, a worker uses a plastic template like a giant biscuit cutter, along with a hydraulic press to cut out thin pieces of nylon fabric for the bindings in the deck. The deck is the part of the snowshoe that fills in the space inside of the frame to help it float over the snow. The nylon is only millimeters thick. It's coated on both sides with polyurethane, a plastic-like material that makes it waterproof and super tough. It takes a steel blade embedded in the plastic template and 18 tons of pressure to cut through it. When the bindings and the deck are cut, there's just one last important part to stamp out. These are the pivot straps that attach the bindings to the snowshoe. They're called pivot straps because they actually pivot or turn when you walk. Once all the pivot straps are ready, it's time to attach them to the bindings. A vintage 1940 sewing machine does the stitching. This same kind of sewing machine was used to make parachutes in the Second World War. It makes a unique box stitch to tack down all 4 sides of the straps. When the bindings are finished, an eyelet machine attaches nylon loops to the deck of the snowshoe with little brass eyelets. The loops are needed to clip the deck to the aluminium frame. Now for the hard part, getting the aluminium frame through all those loops to stretch the nylon deck into the open space of the frame. They haven't figured out a machine to do it yet, so workers have to hold the frame between their legs and pull the nylon loops over the tubing. The eyelet machine adds 3 final loops to the front of the frame so there's no give in the deck. With the deck in place inside the frame, the snowshoe is ready for the finishing touches. A press rivets a steel plate on the top of the snowshoe where your heel will sit. Steel cleats are riveted to the bottom for extra traction in the snow. Finally, the straps go on to hold the snowshoes to your feet. When finished, the snowshoes weigh just 1¼ kilos, yet still provide the lift you need to float over the snow.